Таков прогноз Запада.
The Russian government is predicting that prices will stabilize soon. This was the promise of Economic Minister Lichayev today. He also predicted a decline in production. In the news today, the session of the Supreme Soviet of Russia is discussing the issue of social guarantees. In Nagorno-Karabakh, military activity is moving to the Azerbaijani side of the border. Armenian forces favor placing UN troops in Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan is opposed. A union of oil industry workers was found today. Contraband was found on the ferry boat Anna Karenina. And now 30 minutes of news. Today, Russian President Boris Yeltsin began his official visit in France. Before leaving for France, President Yeltsin, in talks with journalists, expressed his hope that the result of the negotiations in Paris will be a reduction in the rate of increases in nuclear arsenals. The president believes that Russia's proposals for deep cuts in nuclear weapons will permit France to reduce its defense spending. Franco-Russian relations have a long history, almost 10 centuries. The first cooperation treaty between France and Russia was signed by Peter I, and these relations were enhanced in the 19th century when Germany and Austria-Hungary created a triple alliance. France and Russia at that time created a secret military convention on mutual assistance. Europe, there was now a new political economic pact. In 1946, Charles de Gaulle called France the unifying link between the two worlds of Russia and Anglo-America. Britain and America are now becoming our partners, and we believe that mutual partnership is also in the interests of France and Russia. General de Gaulle said in his time, for France and Russia, to be united is to be strong. The current ambassador to France and Russia, Bernard Defour, said that France never liked the word superpower, but Russia, the French believe, was and is a great power. The airplane with the label Russia and the Russian flag arrived at Orly Airport at 6 p.m. local time. On the tarmac, an honor guard came to meet the president. President Yeltsin was greeted by French President Mitterrand, ministers and other officials who had come to the airport. The pomp should not obscure, however, the business-like portion of the visit, which is so far hidden behind the protocol. Yeltsin's schedule is very full, which is surprising even the journalists. There will be important negotiations, the result of which should be the signing of a cooperation treaty dealing with economics, finance, culture, training, and guaranteeing nuclear security. They also will consider the issue of giving Russia credits originally earmarked for the former Soviet Union. The local press emphasizes that President Yeltsin has not come to Paris with an outstretched hand, but seeking investment which will be beneficial to both sides. But this will all be tomorrow. Now, a traditional statement to the press. President Mitterrand noted that Russian-French relations were always marked by understanding and accord, and now the main task is to deepen these relations and create the necessary structures in Europe. In his statement, Yeltsin emphasized, I am convinced that we will have very intensive and profound negotiations with the President on a wide range of world and European problems, and also the issues of bilateral cooperation and further deepening and developing our relations. This evening in the palace, there was a meeting between the two presidents, eye to eye, not counting the eyes of the interpreters. The content of this meeting will be revealed tomorrow. And for now, this evening, President Mitterrand will visit Yeltsin in the residence of the Russian president. The general fuel crisis, which we were so afraid of this winter, thank God has not come, but its arrival can be felt. In sovereign Estonia, for example, they have stopped baking white bread because a liter of fuel costs 15 rubles. In Latvia, the famous RAF auto factory is on the verge of stopping, and fuel shortages are also emerging in Russia and Ukraine. No one of the Commonwealth states can cover its oil needs today, they said at the Congress of Oil Workers, which finished finished its work in Tyumen today. They created a union of oil workers whose members heard shocking information. Oil production is down 100 million tons this year. The volume of new construction has been decreased by 5 times. Oil producers and processors cannot enter the market in normal conditions today due to the inconsistent price policies in the CIS. The branch is not being financed, and in Russia this situation will lead to the necessity to import oil. The goal of this oil union is to not permit the collapse of the branch. This crisis in the branch of oil is being felt already. There's a shortage of gas and fuel, which has stopped public transportation in Donetsk. This little magazine, this little store on the edge of town was bought by the Grigoriev family. They grow their own fruits and vegetables, process them, and sell them themselves. They have prices lower than state prices. Meat is 30 rubles, and therefore people have been coming, especially underprivileged people, from all over town. The interesting thing is that they sell goods in this store even to the large industrial complexes. Do you have just one store? No, we have this store and 3 affiliates. Yes, 3 stores. Are you afraid of failure? You have to maintain yourselves. No, we're not supporting anyone. We just sell directly to the population. We sell goods that are of higher quality with fewer additives, and we have good prices. We have reliable suppliers of honey, potatoes, carrots, cabbage, and meat, and you sell it cheaply. Yes, we sell it more cheaply. From free prices, our farmers and collective farm workers are suffering losses today. Therefore, the farm workers are asking the government for help, which they will receive. The Association of Peasant Farms finished its work in Moscow today. This Congress was very lively, but also very productive. This was the general evaluation expressed here, and it's understandable. There are more farmers than ever. There are 60,000 of them, and the association itself has grown stronger. The farm movement is awaiting positive movements from the Russian government and parliament. In this year, a whole series of decrees and orders have been adopted in order to create favorable conditions for Russian farmers. But orders are one thing, and the situation on the local level is different, where bureaucratic ambitions and the arbitrary rule of local authorities are still in control. A law was passed recently on contracts, as a result of which the freeing up of farm land brought with it an unexpected result, a 25% quit rent. I was very convinced when I first obtained my land that I would be able to work it profitably. Less than a year has passed since I got my land, and now I am put in such a position that I am forced to abandon my plans. The government, in freeing up land, wanted to receive 1/4 of the products from the land, forgetting that the government should be defending the farmers from monopoly of fuel suppliers, agricultural equipment, and construction materials. We have managed to reach agreement between the farmers and the government on a variety of issues which are favorable to the peasants, and so I believe their decisions about this official legal agreement is the right thing to do. Farmers now believe they will enjoy the support of the government, and the peasants are leaving here with hope. One of the goals of the government's price increase program has been achieved. The shelves are full of goods, but no one is taking them because the prices are prohibitive. So many people are reselling goods. The prices are not controlled here, of course, but there is no need to pay taxes. Because the increase in prices was very sharp at first, we believe that in February and March the rate of increase will decrease. We have the same number of goods as we are using in the country. The reason for taking these actions on price liberalization and strict economic measures were to force the producers of goods to release them from inventory into retail trade. Then we will have more goods available. I can say that this process has only just begun, and unfortunately, the measures taken by the government have been insufficiently strict, and its financial policy has been insufficiently harsh and strict in order to bring these goods into retail trade. Sociologists predicted that as a result of economic reform, 80% of the population would fall below the poverty level, but the situation is even sadder than that. 90% of pensioners now live below the poverty level. This figure was announced today at the Supreme Soviet of Russia. The Ministry of Social Protection of the Population proposes additional pension payments in February and March. The report was made by the Minister of Social Protection, Panfilova. She raised the issue on paying increased pensions to war veterans. Both chambers of the parliament, meeting in separate session, adopted on first reading a law on private detective and guard services. What's happening in foreign policy, Yeltsin justifiably calls a revolution. But in terms of our domestic policy, this is a